Konami is behind some of the most illustrious video game franchises of all time. Contra, Metal Gear, Suikoden, Silent Hill, and of course my favorite of the bunch, Castlevania.
You like Castlevania, don't you?
Indeed I do, Psycho Mantis, but that's kind of a loaded question since Castlevania games can come in a variety of different flavors. You have that traditional linear action platformer like the original NES trilogy. Then with the release of Symphony of the Night, things began to change. It was all about exploring a non-linear castle, and it had the introduction of a leveling system. The series then became so synonymous with that type of gameplay, that's where the Vania half and the Metroidvania genre comes from. Castlevania even has 3D action RPGs, like Lord of Shadows 1 and 2. And these two games would be the last time we saw anything from the series, let alone a game in the classic style. But back in 2009, before Konami began neglecting the franchise, we were graced with an exclusive title for the Nintendo Wii Shop, Castlevania The Adventure ReBirth, a game that took the series back to its roots, and one that you should pick up before the Wii Shop closes down for good. So grab your whip and some holy water, because we are about to enter Dracula's castle. Like the name suggests, Castlevania The Adventure ReBirth is a remake of a game originally for the Game Boy. Name alone is pretty much the extent of what these two games have in common, as the graphics, gameplay, and even the soundtrack are more closely related to other games in the series. And good thing too, because well, the Game Boy version kinda sucks. The story follows the Belmont family's centuries-long battle with the villainous Dracula. It's now Christopher Belmont's turn to try and put an end to it once and for all, which he does not. Maybe the Belmonts should give another family a chance, because they can never seem to put Drac away permanently. The beginning of the game recounts through all the times the Belmonts have taken on Dracula, and failed. This is all quickly glossed over, because you know the basic formula to these games' story, and story has never been their strongest quality. The settings, gameplay, and music, now that's where Castlevania shines, and ReBirth is no exception. You control Christopher, who is equipped with the Vampire Killer, the Belmont clan's trusty whip.
It thirsts for the blood of demonic creatures.
And in this spooky chateau, there are plenty to go around, with endless hordes of Medusas, skeletons, skeleton dragons, eyeballs, ghosties, bats, golems, whatever that guy is, and they're all trying to rip you limb from limb. It's an excellent selection of baddies. The whip is very powerful, and you also have sub-weapons at your disposal that can ease your trek into the mansion. Things like axes or daggers can help you hit enemies at a distance, and you'll find some to be extremely useful, like the spinning cross, which has always been a favorite of mine. Others you'll hate and curse the fact that you accidentally picked it up, like the stopwatch for me. Hearts will replenish your sub-weapon, and there are also occasional drops that will power up your whip to shoot fireballs. ReBirth is closely comparable to the NES trilogy, as it's fairly linear with its level design. But unlike the originals, the controls are far more responsive and forgiving. Christopher moves faster than in previous games, which keeps the action coming at a nice pace, and it doesn't feel stiff like in the NES or the Game Boy ones. A huge plus for me is that you can control the jump arc in mid-air, so now there's less commitment when you jump and where you will land. There are 6 stages total, and it may not sound like a lot, but one level can easily take about 10 to 15 minutes, or a lot longer depending on how you fare. The bosses are all over the place in terms of difficulty. Some just sit there putting up no fight, and you'll wonder why Dracula even asked them to guard his castle, while others are no joke and will beat you to a bloody pulp. The later levels can also be brutal in their difficulty. It'll provide a good challenge if you're up to it, but if you're feeling frustrated, you can add more lives to your pool in the options, or decrease the overall difficulty. The character sprites and animations look awesome. Everything looks so fluid as it moves. Just check out the crack of the whip, or when one of these skeletons reform. It's high quality stuff. I found myself loving not only the character sprites, but also the scrolling gothic backgrounds too. There's so much detail put into it, and it looks fantastic. Sure, some of the character designs are straight up lifted from other games like Symphony of the Night, but they looked incredible there, so if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it looks like they took that approach when it came to the soundtrack, because nothing here is new, but damn did they pull some great tracks from other Castlevania games. And it's not even popular stuff like Bloody Tears, but some deep cuts like an amazing remix of Lullaby Sent to the Devil, which was from the arcade game. Every song is a banger, and it goes to show how Castlevania, regardless of the game's quality, has always had spectacular tunes. Castlevania The Adventure ReBirth feels right at home with the traditional style of games. although there are loads of improvements, with the controls being the most obvious. At 1,000 Wii points or $10, it's a more than worthy addition to your collection for both Castlevania and action platformer fans. Now this one is a real head scratcher for me. The Wii Shop exclusives we've talked about so far have all used motion controls, so it makes sense as to why they're not being ported to another console or to Steam. But Castlevania The Adventure ReBirth, that uses standard controls. So what gives, Konami? Well, it seems they'd rather focus their efforts on making stupid, sexy Castlevania Pachinko machines, rather than support their beloved franchises. Shame on you, Konami. For shame. So with time running out to add points to your Wii Shop account, make sure to pick up Castlevania The Adventure ReBirth before it's too late. Thanks for watching, guys. Do you know of any great Wii Shop exclusives? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll see you next time, and remember, it's all fun and games. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked that video, why not check out my review of Fluidity, another great Wii Shop exclusive. And if you like It's All Fun and Games and want to show your support, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks again.